Oh my god. Whoa. Okay.
Okay, so I decided to let AI decide what I read for a month. Quick disclaimer, I know AI is bad. I just wanted to test it, okay? So one thing that AI is really good at is analyzing data sets and pulling specific things. So I decided to try a little experiment and give ChatGPT every book on my to be read list and see what it picks. I've been in a bit of a reading slump and every book I pick up just isn't hitting. So I thought, why not try this little experiment, and it'll encourage me to read these books because I want to see, does ChatGPT know me well? Will I rate these books a 4 or a 5 star? Okay, so let's go see what books I will be reading.
Okay, so I downloaded my Goodreads library and I have all my want to read books. We're looking at 185 books. That is shocking to think that I could read, my 50 books a year for the next, 6 years and not even reach that? Oh, that gives me anxiety. But okay, so I'm going to take all 185 book titles from my Excel sheet, copy them over to ChatGPT, and give it a few prompts to see what books it pulls. Okay, so the first prompt is going to be pick 3 books that are best to read in the wintertime from this list. And I've given my want to read list. I'm really scared. So out of the 3, I'm going to choose because I'm a control freak and I still don't want it to have full control, but I want it to, give me some ideas. So let's see. Oh my god, I'm doing a live reaction to this. I have no idea what it's gonna pull. Here are 3 wintertime reads from your list chosen for their atmospheric or cozy vibes and themes that complement the season. Why do I have anxiety? Why did it work so well? Okay, so the 3 books it pulled are The Shining by Stephen King, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and Krampus, the Yule Lord by Bram. So some history. I barely have read Stephen King. I've read Carrie and Misery. So The Shining would be my 3rd ever Stephen King. I've seen the movie, loved the movie, but I heard the book is so different and I own it. So that would be easy. And then we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I own as well. And I bought it when BookTube was hyping it up and everybody was saying it's the best book ever, and thought I would read it then, and I haven't read it since. And then we have Krampus, which Bram is one of my favorite authors. I loved Slewfoot, but I don't think I'm ready to take on such a hefty, lore-heavy book right now because of my slump. I'm going to reveal which one I pick later, so let's move on to the next prompt. So my next prompt will not feature my want-to-read list, and it's just broad. So I'm going to write, search the web for 3 books in either the horror, LGBTQ romance, or mystery thriller genre that were released in 2024 and highly rated. So I want to read a new release from last year that maybe I haven't heard of or didn't think to want to read. Oh my god! Whoa, okay. It gave me summaries. I was not expecting that. Okay. Here are 3 highly rated adult books released in 2024 spanning the horror, LGBTQ romance, and mystery thriller genres. So first we have Bury Your Gaze. I have had this on my TBR since I heard about it and would definitely be interested in picking it up for this video, but am I in the mood for a summer, gay, movie lot horror right now? Let's read the other 2 and see. So I don't think I've heard of these ever. The next one is The Call is Coming from Inside the House. It's a collection of essays by Alison McOate. Okay, I don't think I'm in the mood for a collection of essays, a nonfiction, potentially, right now. So I'm going to put that on the back burner for a minute. And the last pick was The Last Truths We Told by Holly Watt. It's a mystery thriller. It brings together old college friends at a family house in Dartmoor where they uncover past predictions. As secrets unravel, it becomes evident that one among them is a killer. Oh my god, it's been compared to The Secret History. I could go with The Secret History and this, since it picked both, and compare them. See which one's better, see how similar they are. Or I could go with Bury Your Gaze and The Shining, 2 books that were on my TBR already that I'm already really interested in. Okay, so my next prompt is gonna feature my want to read list again, but I thought it would be really interesting. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, based on this list of books that I'm interested in reading, pick 3 books that are statistically most likely to be a 5-star read for a reader like me. So basically I'm making ChatGPT take my whole TBR and based on my vibe of books I'm interested in, which 3 does it think will be a 5-star for me? Okay, let's go. Oh my god, I'm scared. My last pick. Ooh! Ooh! Oh my god. Is Donna Tartt freaking paying these people? Based on statistical likelihood and trends in ratings, these 3 books from your list are most likely to be 5-star reads for you, considering the genres and themes you might enjoy. So, first pick is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, which I own physically and I expect to love. I loved Wolfsong by TJ Klune, gave it 5 stars, and ChatGPT doesn't even know that. So that's crazy to recommend me that because it's probably accurate. Whoa! It says why it might be a 5-star read. It's whimsical, heartwarming LGBTQ fantasy, found family and acceptance. How does it know what I like based off my TBR? That's crazy. Okay, the second pick is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Another one that's been on my TBR for a while. I assume I'm gonna rate it 5 stars based on people who recommended it to me and how our reads align, so. And the third pick is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I'm gonna be so honest with you right now. I have that book physically and I have no idea what it's about. I think it's about a college, dark academia, cult, mystery. I really don't know. So going into that, it would truly be shocking. So unfortunately, just for this month, I'm gonna put Mexican Gothic on the back burner solely because out of the 3, it's the one I don't own physically, so I don't want to have to put in the effort to go get it. So basically, out of all 3 prompts, there are 2 paths I can take. You're gonna have to wait and see which 3 books am I gonna read. I decided on my first read. It is gonna be Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. This has been on my TBR since its announcement, and I know it's going to be up my alley. Every time I went to start it, I didn't give it a fair chance, and I just felt like I wasn't in the mood. So this is my motivation. I have to read it to see if ChatGPT was right. Am I going to like this? Also, I'm reading on my new Kindle, and I have these cute horror stickers. It is the 2024 Paperwhite. So grateful. And guys, it's so fast. So I'm gonna read a little bit and check in when I have some updates. Okay, so I'm like 10% in to Bury Your Gaze, and I have to document this because I'm loving it. I think I'm gonna have to finish this entire book today because I'm really, really enjoying it. So the book follows our main character, Misha, who is a writer for movies and short films and TV shows. He's dating this guy and he's writing his little gay shows and movies, and the executive of the company comes to him and is like, you need to kill off your gay characters. Like, the corporate men who are funding this don't want this because it's killing the ratings, and the homophobes who are watching are not going to tune in. So you either have to make them straight or kill them. And our main character is like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to make them gayer. And he leaves. I know, like, the writing style here is really up my alley, and I'm really liking what the book has to say so far. So, okay, so I'm like 20% in, and it's so interesting. We're having flashbacks to Misha's childhood. So I decided to read in tandem, which is when I listen to the audiobook while I read digitally or physically. And let me tell you, this audiobook is so good. There's like a full cast, multiple voice actors, there's sound effects, and all the voice actors are like putting all of their energy into it, and it's really good. So I'm really enjoying reading in tandem with the audiobook. Okay, I finished Bury Your Gaze on my Kindle. I have a lot to say, and I'm gonna rate and review it later, but I have to pick my next book. So I literally flipped a coin. Should I read The Secret History or The Shining next? And we are reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I picked this up probably a year ago when everybody was hyping it up. Everybody was saying, it is a page turner, you won't be able to put it down, it'll cure your reading slump, it's so good. And I'm gonna be so honest, I have no idea what it's about. I think it has to do with like dark academia, university, secret society, and I love the cover. I love this like marble statue. It is 558 pages, and I have about 4 days to read it because I have a tight reading schedule in January, so I'm gonna start now. And I'll check back in when I have an update. So I'm like 85 pages into The Secret History, and I'm liking it a lot. It's basically about this boy named Richard who grew up with poor parents that wanted him to pursue a financially stable career, but he secretly goes to Hampton University, which is like a really small, prestigious university. And while he's there, he really wants to take Greek because he loves it and he knows it, but the professor only teaches a very select, small group of students every year, and he has 5 students right now. The professor's like, yeah, I'll let you in, but you have to drop every other class and only take all my classes. So it's just him and these 5 other students. They're all like rich socialites. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading, hopefully past the 100-page mark, and I'll check in again when I have more to say. So it's a few days later, I'm at about page 300, and I'm really enjoying this book. I had a brief period of kind of getting bored and being like, what are we doing here? Like, we are just following these 6 characters. Nothing is really happening. And I was very much mistaken because a lot starts happening around the halfway mark. It has me wanting to read and finish this really fast because I want to know how this all plays out. So it's written in a very poetic and detailed way, but that makes sense for the character, so I really like it. And it just reads like Richard is telling you the story. He's just telling you about his time, and yes, it is very detailed, so it can drag at points, but the action is very, very entertaining. Okay, I'm literally driving in the car, but I just finished the audiobook for The Secret History. I am literally the way I screamed out loud, like I'm so aghast at what just happened. If you know, you know. What the actual hell? Okay, so I was just listening to the audiobook of The Shining as I'm driving, and I'm really, really loving it. Like, I'm obsessed with it right now. I love when horror has messed up kids, and kids are talking to ghosts or seeing things or dealing with something really scary, and it's almost played off innocently. The child is so naive to how scary what they're experiencing actually is. Love that trope. Love when that's in a book, especially a horror book. The little boy in the book with The Shining is named Danny, and my name is Dan, so every time I'm listening to the audiobook and they're saying his name, it feels like they're talking to me and it's a little scary. Okay, I haven't really been checking in because I've been running through this book. I've seen bits and pieces of the movie. I think I know how the movie ends, but I don't know how the book ends, and I think, if I remember correctly, that they end differently. So I have literally like 20 pages left. It's scary. Like, it gets really scary. I have a lot to talk about, but wow. Okay, that was a wild ride, so I have a lot of thoughts. But I'm going to start with a spoiler-free section and then move on to spoilers. So overall, I really enjoyed this because I love adding an experiment to a hobby I'm already trying. Because I knew it was an experiment for this video, I was really taking my time and taking in each of the 3 stories. So I feel like, in a way, it allowed me to slow down, which reminded me why I love to read, and it helped with my slump a little bit, so I think that was good. Okay, without spoilers, I'm gonna give a quick thought and ranking for each book. So for The Secret History, I'm gonna give it 4 stars, and I know a lot of people might give it 5 stars. I see myself giving it the full 5, but to me, it's one of those books where the second read will really add to the experience. So I think if I reread it at some point in my life, that could be the 5-star, but after this first read, it's a 4-star. I think the plot was really interesting and kept me wanting to turn the page, but it was very dense and character driven, which is a good thing, but you have to like be in the mood for that. I just docked it 1 star, but I have more to say, so stay tuned. The Shining. This is a 5-star read. This might be my favorite Stephen King. I am an avid horror reader, but when it comes to Stephen King, I've only read Carrie and Misery. But including The Shining, I think it's my favorite out of the 3. It just has such a cool setting and such a small cast of characters that are really well written, so you root for them. And it keeps you on your toes because everything is subtly happening and it's not so in-your-face horror, but when you really start to think about it, it's really, really scary. And finally, we have Bury Your Gaze. This, to me, is a 4-star. It was almost a 5, just like The Secret History, but there are a few things that made me dock 1 star. I am someone who's very picky with my 5 stars. For example, I read 50 books last year, and only 6 of them were 5 stars. So overall, it was a good story, and it was nice and concise. It was very modern. It mixed 2 of my favorite things, the queer experience and horror. So definitely worth the 4 stars.
Okay, was the experiment successful? I say yeah, because it gave me 2 4s and 1 5-star read. I don't know if the prompts I picked were just really good or if ChatGPT just knew books that were popular had to be good, but it picked 3 pretty good picks. I'd be interested to try this again in a part 2 video where I pick new questions to ask that might be a little more niche and less popular. It was like trying to outread what AI expects you to like, and then being a little shocked and disappointed that they were actually right. Okay, that's it for the spoiler-free section. So if you haven't read these 3 books, click out now, leave a like and comment while you're here, but thanks for watching, and if you want to hear my thoughts on these books, stay tuned. Okay, starting off, we have Bury Your Gaze. This book shocked me in multiple ways because I went into this thinking it's a murder mystery slasher type horror on a Hollywood film set, and it was gay, and that's all I knew. So obviously the title, Bury Your Gaze, is a well-known term about kill off your gay characters to please funders and the general public. And so our main character is tasked with killing off his characters or basically getting fired. And it starts off as him challenging this system and wanting to keep the characters, but it really quickly turns into something I was not expecting. But it's also a subgenre of horror that I really like, which is sci-fi horror. So a big conversation had throughout this book is the use of AI and the future it could have on writers and media creation, which I really enjoyed. I loved that conversation. I just wasn't expecting it to happen going into it. A standout scene that sticks out to me was the piano falling. It was so shocking, and I literally gasped out loud when I read it. I thought Misha and Zeke were a really cute, realistically written gay couple, and I docked it 1 star because of a few scenes that I felt either dragged on or weren't needed, like when Misha goes home to his homophobic friends from town. I really appreciated what that was trying to do, but it took me out of the story and the action a little bit. Overall, the story is basically talking about these nanobots that this media company has created basically through AI, that they can form any human being, actor, animal, anything. They can just become it and basically play out any scene that they need. So if they are successful with these nanobots, then they won't need actors anymore. They won't need writers. They just need AI to look like those actors. The writer in the story has his horror character start coming to life and chasing after him in real life. And it's very confusing. You're kind of reading it like, what is happening? Like, is this fantasy? Is this in his mind? Why are these characters trying to kill him? And then it turns out the company told the AI bots to do whatever they can to make the company the most money, and the AI saw Misha attacking them for their homophobia as stopping them from making money. So it created itself into Misha's monsters and started following him and trying to kill him. And that's basically the story. And it was super unexpected, and I love that. I love how the AI aspect is kind of a plot twist, and it's not so evident in the synopsis or anything, because that really added to my reading experience. And it tells 2 stories simultaneously, which is the use of AI against artists and also the companies that create media going against the LGBTQ community. So I really liked it. It was just almost a 5-star for me. Next, we have The Secret History. Oh my gosh, do I have a lot to talk about. This is one of those books that you watch videos on after, deep dives on, you spend days trying to decipher even what happened, but also nothing happens at the same time. So our main character, Richard, is reminding me of the main character in The Great Gatsby, which he references as his favorite book, so it's kind of funny, but just thrown into this world as a poor man, surrounded by these rich, privileged people, and trying to pretend that he fits in with them. And so you can kind of tell by the title that there's going to be some sort of secret society, but what I was imagining was really not where it went. I thought the school would have this elite club that went on for decades that kills people and all of this stuff, but it's more just a small group of privileged rich friends that become so exclusive to their other students that they kind of implode on themselves. And it's a really interesting character study. Like I said in the first review, it's pretty dense, and a lot of scenes happen in between the action, but you're overall just trying to figure out this mystery of who killed Bunny, why was Bunny killed, and what is happening with this weird group of students. And you find out Bunny was pushed off a cliff because he was trying to reveal the secret of the group, which is that they basically tried to worship the devil and took a bunch of drugs and were trying to wish death upon one of the characters' moms killed so that he can inherit the fortune. And in doing that, they accidentally kill this man. And so because Bunny knows they killed that man, he starts to use it against them and use them for money, basically blackmailing them. And so to stop them, they kill Bunny. And it's all spearheaded by the main antagonist in my eyes, Henry. And Richard doesn't know a lot about what's happening throughout most of the book. So when you get to the end and Henry ceases to exist, it's pretty shocking because it all happened so fast and you didn't know the extent of his insanity until then. The reason I say this might benefit from a second read is because it's one of those books like Catching Fire where the main character isn't let in on a lot of what's happening and then it all gets revealed. So when you reread it, knowing what was actually happening, you get to pick up on all these little clues that were given that you missed your first read. So I think I will reread this sometime in my life and give it a 5-star because I think it's a modern day classic. But I still docked it a star this one time because I found myself forcing myself to finish certain chapters because it felt so long. But overall, I really liked it. I would recommend it. And finally, we have The Shining. So a 5-star read for me. This book, I did audio and physical in tandem, but there were certain moments where I was out and about and I had to listen to the audiobook because I couldn't wait to keep reading. So I was just in my car, like freaking out because of the action that was taking place. I also watched the movie after reading this, and it's safe to say the movie isn't as good story-wise, but obviously the visuals are iconic, the actors are iconic. I love it for what it was, but I still prefer the book because the book is truly, truly a character study. Like, Jack started off abusive and insane, and the hotel saw that and amplified it to use him in its game. And I like the book better also because you're in the characters' minds, so you get to hear their thought processes through the hallucinations, and it's such subtle horror that, again, goes over your head if you don't know anything about the story and you're just reading it for the first time. But once it all comes together at the end, it all makes sense that like all those little instances were just ghosts and visions and hallucinations and the hotel being manipulative. I personally felt attached to Danny because we have the same name, and Wendy is such an interesting character too. Like, the characters in this book are just so fleshed out, and I'm so excited to read more Stephen King to see if this stays on my number one because his writing is just wow. So that's the experiment. I think it went pretty well, and I suggest you try it for yourself. Make sure you subscribe and like so that I know you enjoyed this video, and who knows, I might do a part 2 with some new prompts. So definitely stay tuned. See you in the next one. Bye!